Hi, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Charlie Young, and I'm with the Ohio State University, the Center for Design and Manufacturing Excellence, and I'll be kicking off the program here today. Today, we're going to be talking about our SBRD program. SBRD is our acronym for Supply-Based Resilience and Diversification. We're talking about our final round of this program here today, but I do want to let everybody know that we have been very successful with this grant program in our first rounds. So we're doing everything we can to try and keep this program going in the future. So stay tuned, and we'll see what we can do along those lines as well. A couple of housekeeping items for today. First of all, this session is being recorded. So within a day or so, you will be able to review anything that you see here online on our website. And we'll also send you an email saying that the recording is available at that time. Same thing with the slides that we're presenting. They will be available as well. If you have any questions, we're going to take those at the end. So please submit those in the Q&A section. And if you're having any issues, technical issues or anything like that, please let us know in chat, and we'll do what we can to help resolve that going forward. Okay, we'll move on to the next slide. So this is our team of panelists that will be involved today in the presentation and the Q&A. So I will go through the names real quickly. First of all, Nate Ames, who's the Executive Director of the Center for Design and Manufacturing Excellence. That is what CDME stands for at Ohio State University. 5 of us here work for Ohio State University and are part of the CDME program there. Michael Gentile is our program manager for this grant. I'm Charlie Young, and I have a business development role here. Jason Robinson is our senior design engineer and will be the lead engineer on all the projects. Ashley is our marketing and communication specialist. The last two here come from GDI Partners organization, in which we'll have more of a description of what they do later, but we're very glad to have them. Tracy and Lisa from GDI Partners lead the Triad program, which will be a program that will allow you to present your idea to the military. All right, next slide. I also wanted to send a special thank you to many of these small business organizations that have helped us and endorsed us through this program. When we started, we had support of some of these, and as we've gone on, many have been added on. So we're very happy to be working with all of these groups here. All of them have a great connection to small businesses in Ohio, and all of them are involved with the military or with government projects in one form or another. So it's been great to be working with everybody on here. So if you're working with them, they should know about our program as well. Okay, go more, next slide. Our agenda for the day, and again, I'll try to read out the acronyms here just to make sure we have them. So first we'll go through a brief introduction of the Center for Design and Manufacturing Excellence. That will be the entity that will be doing the prototypes that we're talking about today. And then we'll talk about what is the SBRD program. Again, SBRD, Supply-Based Resiliency and Diversification Program, and why participate. We want to let you know our capabilities to build a prototype for you or help you with a MVP. We want to let you know what the selection criteria is for moving forward with this grant, how you can participate and what's next along the line. And then also want to tell you about our student marketing program for this grant, which will allow you to stay connected to Ohio State. And then we'll do the quick Q&A. The idea here, hopefully, is that we can do most of this in about 30 to 40 minutes, leaving plenty of time for question and answer. Okay. So I'm going to hand over the presentation at this point to Nate Ames, who is the executive director for our Center for Design and Manufacturing Excellence at Ohio State. He's going to do a brief introduction for you, and then I'll be back in a few minutes. Thanks.
Thank you, Charlie, and thank you everybody for joining us today. I'm going to try to go as quickly as I can on the background of the center and the high points of the program. The goal is to get to the meat, kind of the part where we have some means to help you all out. So who is CDME, or what is CDME? We're a design and manufacturing research organization inside of Ohio State University. We reside underneath the College of Engineering. And one of the core tenets of our mission is to drive technology forward in support of national security and kind of national prowess. The way that we do that, we believe, is unique. What we do, you can kind of see in the upper left-hand corner of the slide, product development, technology translation, applied engineering, those activities are prolific through lots of organizations around the US. What we've tried to do is take a little bit of a holistic approach to it and say, if you have the best technology and the best idea and ultimately the best product, you and we as a nation, we're not as effective as if we have the workforce that understands that technology the instant it hits the street. So while we do the product development, technology commercialization, we have, right now with coronavirus, it's a little bit lower than normal, but say upwards of 75 to 100 undergraduate students working in an experiential education program where they're continuously mentored on how to do product development, how to actuate a business, how to understand the finances, do quoting, all the things that you need to do in order to take a product from an idea all the way to market. And some of the little steps along that path are really important and very difficult and not always part of an educational program in a traditional university. The other nice thing for the students is that while they don't get credit for this activity, they get paid. And the money that they make, while they're probably not going to retire off of it, it's typically enough that they can pay for their education. So it could be viewed almost like a scholarship, I suppose. The structure of the center, or the engine that we operate under, is the students are core. So you see the first box on the left, or the first circle on the left there, is the student piece. They're all undergraduate students that are paid as employees in the center. We work with grad students and postdocs as well, but the students that are hired for CDME are undergrads. The facility, we sit inside of what once was a saw blade manufacturing building on OSU property. We've got between $12 and $13 million in capital equipment. All of it is kind of pilot to large scale manufacturing equipment, forging presses, stamping equipment, welding equipment, injection molding, CNC machining, robotics, welding, all the things that you would need to operate a product development and commercialization organization. Our team consists of about 24 engineers, technicians, program managers, almost all of which, maybe all of which right now, come from industry or came from industry before joining the university. We're trying to grow at the right pace and make sure that the people we bring in have the right experience to not only help you with your products, but also to mentor the students so that you have a potential workforce to hire. And then lastly, and potentially most important, is the faculty and the kind of academic component of the university. So we have, at OSU, we have about 5,000 faculty members on campus. Those faculty members are available to help with any of your technologies or any of your products. So you can kind of think of them as our snipers, if you will. They don't necessarily have to be involved in every single project, but when we bring them in, they have a depth of understanding in a specific area that no one else in the center has. Next slide, please. This program, as Charlie mentioned, it's called SBRD, and he's going to cover some more background on it later. But at the core of it, the intended purpose is to take ideas or existing products and move them to as close as we can to a minimally viable product in support of a Department of Defense application. As part of this, we don't just move the technology forward, we're also going to help put you in front of potential customers. So that's where Triad, Lisa Delp, and Tracy, where they come in. And we'll talk about that as well in a little bit. If you could go to the next slide. So the idea here, the idea that was proposed to the Department of Defense was that one way to increase the resilience of DoD supply base is to increase the number of companies that have both commercial and defense products, the dual use products. In order to, sorry, I was looking at, somebody's having some trouble hearing. If we're going to focus the products on defense applications that are currently commercial applications, one of the critical steps to make that work is to create a high value MVP, or minimally viable product, specific to the Department of Defense applications. It's kind of like you don't want to walk in and show somebody a desktop computer if their need is a laptop. While the guts to the computer are the same and the operating system are the same, the application of a laptop is substantially different than the application of a desktop. That's kind of what we want to do. We don't want to change the core of your technology. We just want to make sure that it's presented in a way that makes a ton of sense to the Department of Defense representatives. Next slide. So as Charlie mentioned, this is our third round under this program, or this grant. Today we've interacted with and worked with 55 small businesses. So we kicked this off about 10 months ago, ironically, right at the start of the coronavirus. The 55 small businesses that we've interacted with, they've brought forward 78 new technologies. So you can read between the lines there. You can submit more than one technology into this program. Of those 78 technologies that were submitted to the application process, we've currently selected and are helping 16 of those move forward. The balance, those that have not been selected to convert to a minimally viable product, we're not leaving you behind. So we're continuing to work with everyone, those selected for MVP and those that were not initially selected. Next slide, please. So this is just a bunch of words on a slide showing who has been selected so far. So round one, that selection process occurred in late August. Round two, the announcements went out to the selected companies yesterday. So very, very new information on round two. I'm gonna we could pick any of the ones from round one, and they all have an amazing story, and all of their technologies I think are gonna go a long way. I'm just gonna cherry pick one because I can't talk about all of them. If we look at JM Hartfield Healthcare. So Melissa's the founder of the company. She brought an idea forward for a nasal cannula protector. When she came in, her exposure had been that she went and participated in one of the I-Corps programs, NSF I-Corps programs. Ironically, we also run I-Corps out of the center. I-Corps at Ohio is run by CDME. Once Melissa submitted her idea to us, we went through the review process. We went through this presentation process. We did everything like you are about to go through. She was selected, or her technology was selected for further support and to help drive it towards an MVP. Since then, we've helped develop the designs for production tooling, get lined up with injection molding, advance the prototypes. She was able to take her technology through working with us and GDI and go participate in the Tech Warrior Days at Wright State along with the Air Force. and has subsequently tested her technology with users at the hospital, and now has a joint development agreement with one of the hospitals. So that's just one short story, and recognize that all of that has happened since effectively September, so late August or early September. Part of our goal here is to not drag our feet. We want to get action as quick as possible and try to get you all into the market and get your products moving as quickly as we can. Next slide. So this is the last slide, and then we'll hand off on this slide to Charlie. The thing to note here is this isn't a mission of just the Ohio State University or CDME. We've joined forces with Department of Defense, Office of Economic Adjustment, and GDI partners to deliver this SBRD program to the Department of Defense and to help all of you and your organizations move technology to a potentially new marketplace. With that, Charlie, if you want to take over the controls.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Nate. I'm going to go through a little bit more of the things that are involved in for you to take the next steps, and some key items for what's in it for you, and also what's in it for some of the other parties that were talked about here. So the first one, what's in it for you? So just to review, Nate went over it, but we really want to get your idea. Then CDME will build a prototype or MVP, and then we will work with GDI partners to present your idea to the military, and there'll be more details on that coming up. But the idea there is that you get both when you're working through this type of a process with us here. And just so that there's not any real confusion, that when we say a prototype or an MVP, it can run the spectrum. So it could be something that you just have an idea for, and you need some sort of just a working model of it. Or it could be, I already have the prototype, I already have a working model, but I need to miniaturize it, or I need to improve it, or I need to, we need to work on how to manufacture it, or, improve the quality, or it could run that kind of a spectrum for what you're looking for here. So anything that we can do to help is where we would like to be involved in that. CDME specializes in things like experience and resources and equipment, and we'll show you some of that as we go through this. So just want to make sure that we can help with those type of things as well. Could you go back a slide? Yeah, one more forward, sorry. Good. Okay, just wanted to show this as well and emphasize one of the things that Nate was talking about before with this dual use applications that we have. Our goal is to try to help make the military more accessible to you. A lot of you, for example, may have not gone to the military before with your application or your prototype because you didn't know enough about it, or the application was complex, or you really want to be in the commercial market. Any of those type of things can happen. Typically, things that are used in commercial also sometimes have an opportunity to be part of a military application. With a few changes in technology or something like that, you can get to that point. So if you have an application, we'll work with you to see if there could potentially be a military application. If you have a commercial application, we'll also work with you to see if there is a military application as well. So that's one of the things that we want to do, is just make sure that the military is accessible to you. And when you do we want to make also the process as simple as possible to get there. So we'll be going over our application, but our application process is a simple online application designed to be easy to use and get you in the door without a complex proposal process that goes on there. Okay, next slide. And then there are definitely benefits, and this is why the grant helped us here. Because the Department of Defense is hungry for new technology. They're constantly on the lookout for it. And they get that obviously from their primes and from big companies, but it's amazing how many small businesses the Department of Defense already works with. And the Department of Defense in Ohio is very much around, and manufacturing in Ohio is very much around. So we are the third largest state for manufacturing, Ohio is, and there's some very prominent entities, government Department of Defense entities in Ohio, two NASA locations. We've got the National Guard, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is a gigantic place for research and development, as well as headquarters for a lot of things. And then there's the Army Joint Systems Manufacturing Center, which is much better known as the Lima Tank Plant. There are many other locations and things like that, but these are some of the real prominent areas for Ohio. So the Department of Defense is a large part of Ohio's economy. Okay, next slide, please. And we also, just to talk about this a little bit, Nate already mentioned that we're working with the Office of Economic Adjustment as part of which is part of the Department of Defense. They are very much part of trying to make defense communities very viable. And that's why things like dual use is so important. So for example, if your product can be used commercially as well as the military, you can work through economic times where one is more of a market than the other. For example, if you're making a part for the defense, and then a defense budget dries up for that, all of a sudden you're left there hanging. But if that part or if that piece of technology can also be used commercially, and you can smooth over those types of times that are going on. That allows you to be, still there for the military when they need you. So the military very much wants this dual use technology. And the other thing I wanted to mention here is just a few months ago, Ohio was designated as a defense manufacturing community by the Department of Defense and the OEA. So that resulted in a very large grant that went to mostly supported by the MEP and Susan Foltz, who's also been very supportive of our program here. So we're very much happy to see Ohio get that kind of a designation, and I think we can all contribute to that. Next slide, please. Wanted to tell you a little bit about CDME, or the Center for Design and Manufacturing, what it is that we do and why we're so qualified to do prototypes and help with your products. So first of all, we operate about a 32,000 square foot advanced manufacturing facility. Here's one of our labs. So when you're looking at many different operations that are in here, from welding to stamping to casting to machining, all in this area that we can work with. And we wanted to give you an idea to look at this because of the size. We're not talking about building prototypes that would fit on a top of a desk, although sometimes that's necessary. We can build prototypes to scale with this. So we have this type of equipment, and this lab, in conjunction with about 4 or 5 others, we house about $12 million worth of manufacturing equipment on here. We are part of Ohio State. We're not a 501c3. So all of this equipment is owned by Ohio State. Next slide, please. And just a little bit about our background. We've been around since 2014, December of 2014. So not very many years, I guess, as far as time goes in a large university. But in that time frame, our center has worked on over 440 projects and with 150 national partners. So just to give you an idea of some of that scale, we've worked with large government, Department of Energy, Department of Defense, Department of Commerce, for example. For Department of Defense, we've worked with Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and National Guard, NASA. So all of those we have worked with on projects. We've also worked directly with some of the primes like Lockheed Martin or GE Aviation or Northrop Grumman. And we've also worked with very large commercial companies, for example, Honda and other automotive Honda, Ford, other automotive companies, large automation companies, large robotics companies, and that sort. But we've also worked with medium and small companies and down to individuals to help with ideas and prototypes. So we really have run the gamut of this, working with commercial and government and all sizes of business when we come to this number of projects. Next slide, please. So when you're working with CDME, we wanted to let you know what was really in our wheelhouse. And this is a list of things that I would say we have a very deep understanding of. So if your project is in these areas, there is a lot here that we can help you with, or any of the adjacencies that might come out of some of these types of capabilities. But as Nate said before, we are a university with 5,000 faculty as well. So if you have a project that doesn't necessarily fall into one of these categories, contact us. Let's talk about it as a possibility, because we work with that 5,000 faculty to see, where we might be able to also find a fit. So that would be the idea there, is that we would still like to entertain any of your thoughts before you just say, no, this doesn't fall in this category. Please call us or even apply, and we'll try to work our way through seeing if there's a way that Ohio State can help support you. Okay, next slide. So I mentioned before that Ohio State, with the Center for Design and Manufacturing Excellence, will build your prototype. One of the most important things there next is, what do you do with it? So we decided to partner with GDI Partners, and we work with them on their Triad program to introduce you to the military. So I'm going to hand the presentation over to Lisa Delp from GDI Partners, and she's going to tell you about the Triad program that we work with there. And then I'll be back to close out the presentation.
Great. Thanks, Charlie. So good morning. I'm Lisa Delp from GDI Partners. My partner, Tracy Bettinger, and I are happy to be with you today. And we're excited to again be working with CDME on the SBRD program that helps innovators who have technology solutions for the Department of Defense get those solutions into the hands of the warfighters. Tracy and I have backgrounds in economic development and entrepreneurship, and through our experience in that space, we saw a real gap in the ecosystem where companies were trying to create opportunities with the DoD. And so to bridge that gap, we developed the Triad program that helps to improve communication between insiders at the DoD, the folks on the inside of the fence, and emerging or growing technology companies. Next slide, please. So the Triad program is a 12-month education and advocacy program that works directly with the companies to help them grow market share, increase revenue. We provide educational services, we provide coaching, teaching, and mentoring to really help with the direct engagement with the DoD and to help access DoD and federal agency resources. So it could be things like lab space, subject matter experts. Certainly funding is a big resource that Department of Defense has. And we help companies really understand what that landscape looks like, who they need to talk to, and what they need to say during those conversations. The capstone event of the Triad program are our pitch sessions. So we organize pitch sessions up until this year. We did one per year, and starting in 2021, thanks in part to the partnership with CDME, we'll be doing 3 pitch sessions. Our next session will be January, and then we'll follow that with one in April and a third in August. But during these pitch sessions, we bring in our cohort of technology companies and innovators and put them in front of a panel of science and technology scouts from the Department of Defense and federal agencies. And those panel members can provide direct connections into the DoD, into the federal agencies. They provide feedback on the technology, really use their boots on the ground leadership roles as active duty service members to help our innovators understand where the best fit is for the technology, who they need to talk to, what the end user is, and really how to get to the decision makers inside DoD that can make a difference in the trajectory of that technology. We also work to increase the awareness of Ohio businesses through information sharing with a network of about 3,000 federal offices, agencies, and military organizations. We do that primarily through our scouting network, but our goal is to make sure that when people think about sensor technology, materials technology, drone tech, med tech, they think about Ohio. And so we share successes such as those we saw with the first cohort from the SBRD program with our scouts, with our broader community, and help increase the odds that follow-on funding events and additional resources will come to those companies. The sad thing that we've learned with the DoD and with other federal agencies is they don't share information very well. Just because a company may receive funding from the Navy's not going to tell the Air Force about it, even though they both may need the same technology. So part of what we do is take on that role and act as that connector between the dots, if you will, that helps those companies really maximize their technology opportunity and those DoD resources. We also try to create new opportunities for increased collaboration with government agencies, with economic development organizations and the business community. We have a lane that we stay in where we help with that communication and help with that engagement. But we have partners like CDME, like the Ohio Manufacturing Extension Partnership, the Small Business Development Centers, who provide other services that are vital to the success of those companies. And so we act as a connector and hand those companies off where need be to make sure that you as those companies, as those innovators, have access to the very best resources and assets that Ohio has to offer to help you build and grow your technology. We'll be having, we have ongoing introduction to Triad webinars, and I've put the link on the page here, but you can go to gdipartners.com/webinar and find the next opportunity to attend one of our sessions. And those sessions are free. We do those in collaboration with CDME and our other partners from the MEP. We'd love to have you attend one of our webinars and learn a little bit more about what we do. So next slide, please. So one of the things everybody asks is, does the program really work? Well, we've run cohorts in 18, 19, and 20. Our last cohort just wrapped up in August of this year. And over the course of those cohorts, we've had 55 different scouts sit on our pitch panels. We average about 24 scouts per pitch panel. We've had 425 DoD agency representatives receive Triad information, which means they were on the receiving end of an introduction from one of our scouts. We've seen 86 technologies come through the process, come through the program, and be presented to the DoD and to other agency representatives. And when I talk about other agencies, I'm talking about what the scouts refer to as the three-letter agencies, so CIA, FBI, Homeland. We've also seen things go to the CDC, and even outside the system to organizations like Doctors Without Borders and the World Health Organization. So our scouts have very deep networks of people who have opted into this process. And so the connections to those networks are very strong for our companies. Part of our program is what's called socialization. And that just means that our scouts are making personal introductions between our companies and those people on the inside of the fence. And so those 86 technologies have over time seen just a little over 5,000 introductions that were made on their behalf. And a typical introduction would be by email, where a scout reaches out to someone in their network and says, I found this technology, I know you need this, here's how you can get in touch with the innovator. They put the innovator's information in that email, they put their information in the email, and facilitate that conversation. It really can help to advance the communication to someone who has the ability to make decisions, write checks, and sign contracts. Over time, our companies have secured just over $6.8 million in non-dilutive funding through SBIRs and other transaction activities. We document that through the SBA site so we can be sure of what we're talking about in terms of that validation. But part of this SBIR process is that companies have to identify end users, and the Triad program goes a long way to help them find the end user, find the acquisitions person, find the program officers to really help advance that opportunity. So next slide, please. So organizations that have participated in the program and work with us on an ongoing basis, I'm not going to read the names to you, but we have good ties to these organizations and many, many others. There is virtually no technology sector that the DoD is not interested in. They buy everything from aerospace parts to zippers, and they're always looking for the next new thing, the best opportunity, the best thing then for their warfighter. And they are absolutely hyper-focused on the needs of the warfighter. So as you're thinking about developing these technologies, one of the things that we'll ask you to do is put yourself in the boots of the warfighter. How would your technology help them? How would it solve a problem, keep them safer, bring them home sooner? Those are the things that DoD really cares about, and caring about those things provides so much room for innovation and creativity and the development of new technologies from our companies. And the fact that we can partner with CDME and we can help you realize your vision for that technology into a minimally viable product, and then from that into the hands of the DoD, where further development resources are available, is, Tracy and I feel like this is such a gift, and we're so happy to be able to work with CDME, to work with you, and we really look forward to having a chance to learn about your technologies and learn about your visions for better futures. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Charlie, and our contact information is in here. We'll be online to answer questions at the end, and good luck. And we encourage everybody to really get committed to the program and get an application in. So thanks.
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, I think the important thing here is that you can have a great product, but if you don't get it in front of the right people, they don't know. And in this particular case, just to emphasize, these are the people who are out looking for this kind of technology. It's their jobs. So Lisa and Tracy have found that avenue. So if we can help you with the right technology, they can get it in front of the right people. So I want to go through this a little bit faster here to finish up so we have time for Q&A. But want to go through the application process. So who should apply? We're really targeting small companies. So we want to keep it around 100 employees or less. It can be an individual, it can be a startup, it can be any of those type of things, but we're trying to focus on the small companies to help them get the access to the military. There does need to be a clear connection to the state of Ohio. So you don't necessarily have to be based in Ohio, but you have to have like an office or a manufacturing service or something here in Ohio in order for this to qualify. The invention should be eligible to receive a U.S. patent, but I want to be clear that our purpose is not to take any intellectual property. Our purpose is to provide application engineering, not fundamental research, for what you are doing. So we are not here to really look to make any impact on intellectual property. The inventor needs to be a U.S. citizen or a U.S. permanent resident, and we'd like to have that submitted project should fit our capabilities. If you have a question about that, like we mentioned before, or we can work with other faculty to work on your project, please give us a call and we'll give you contact information here in a later slide. Next slide, please. So I want to be very clear also that we are not providing you a grant for this, to do this prototype. We are building it for you. So what the types of projects that we're looking about, so we're actually providing the service in order to make this happen. We're looking for projects that would cost approximately $50,000 and last 5 months in duration for us to build your prototype or improve your product or build you a minimal viable product. using the CDME resources that are there. We ask for a 10% cost share, so roughly $5,000 on a $50,000 project. And then any materials that would need to be supplied, we would ask for you to supply as well. But remember that we have all this equipment that we can use already in place at CDME, or other equipment if we can find it at Ohio State as well. We will consider larger projects, but we need to really understand what your project is and for that to be compelling. So again, work with us on those type of things. Before any work will begin, and after selection, we will put a very complete scope of supply together with you, with milestones and project deadlines and all of those type of things, so that you can see exactly what you're going to be getting for this project. And already said that the materials would be covered by you. The last thing is that the invention does need to have a military application, so we will need to work with you to see if we can find that. If you have a question on it, again, we can work with you on that. So it can be combat or non-combat use in the Department of Defense. Next slide, please. So just some dates so that you are aware. We are kicking off our third round, final round today. And like I said before, hopefully we can continue this in the future for some future rounds. There will be an application on our website, and the submission period will be open until February 12th. We'll probably close it at 5 p.m. on the 12th. We have a web-based form, which I'll show you in a minute. The way we go about making the decision is we need to get down to roughly 7 or 8 final projects in order to do the building of the prototypes. So what we'll do is when we get the final submissions, we'll probably cut that list to the top 20. Then we send that list of top 20 to Department of Defense representatives and people that we know who are in the Department of Defense to also get their input. And then we will narrow that down to 7 or 8 projects, which will advance to the development. We'll let you know that by the 16th of March. And the triad event will follow very closely upon that, about 5 or 6 weeks later. And that is where you will have an opportunity to prepare all of your documents that Lisa and Tracy will help you with, and then present them to the technical scouts that are out there. Okay, next slide. So this is our website. It's cdme.osu.edu.sbrd. Hopefully just about everything we just covered is in here. So you can go to it now and look through it. Today or tomorrow, we will be putting in the application for you to submit your idea. And I guess today. So that will be happening right after we do the kickoff webinar here after we finish. So just wanted to give you that idea, and and again, the cdme.osu.edu.sbrd will have all of that. There's other links in there as well. There's some results from round 1 that you can look at. And then there's contact information on how to reach us there. Again, just to emphasize, this will be recorded. This webinar is being recorded, so that will also be, a link to this will also be on this website here in a day or two. Next slide, please. This is similar to what the application will look like. So it will have some very simple questions that you answer. We'll limit the number of words that you can use. We don't want these to be take too much of your time. We want to really make the bar attainable for being able to submit these applications. If you want to attach any files or drawings or flyers or PDFs or whatever it is that you have, you can attach as many as you want at the end. We do have some sort of a limitation, 100 megabytes. And if some of your documents are larger than that, just let us know and we we can, send it to us in an email. But we want you to present any of that sort of thing that happens, but we will be judging your application versus anybody else's application as we go through it. We will not be picking any, we will not be selecting any of the companies until all of them are in. So getting them in early could be an advantage to you, but it won't be an advantage as far as selection process goes. We're going to wait till we get all of them before we make any selections. Next slide. I wanted to close by letting you know that we now have a student marketing program that we've put around this project. And the whole concept there is we want to help you advance your idea, and we want to have the students helping with putting resources on that. So whether you've been selected or not, we want to promote your technology on our website. And we also we have a pretty extensive mailing list of where we get information from, especially on government projects. So we're going to put you on the same mailing list we're on, so that you're getting, of any funding opportunities when we know about it. And I used a connection way back at the beginning to a lot of these small business organizations. So, we'll get you the connections to those companies as well, and their websites and things along those lines. So we want to connect you with the military community, funding opportunities, and small business organizations that are out there, just to make your life a little easier. Then finally, just this, if there's technical support that you need eventually on your project or your product, if you have other funding opportunities that come your way, but you still want somebody to help build your prototype or do work for you in any way, shape, or form, we want to be there for you if that's the case. So we've put this team of students together, and you'll be contacted by one of these students here in the near future. If you submit an opportunity, and we're doing this in retro as well. So if you've done this in the past, these students will be contacting you. And our idea, at least out of the chute, is, if you go to the next slide, is that we want to have at least 2 web pages with your name on it on the CDME website. So the CDME website, with Ohio State branding and the Department of Defense branding and working on this, we'll have a website with all of the companies and innovators that have sent in an application. And we'll put a 5 to 10 word tech description on there, the company name, a company contact, and a link to a company brief. And that will link you to your own web page that's in, or own page, which is a landing page, which is in our website, with your company, your name and logo. We'll give about a 5 to 10 sentence technical brief. And we've been coached on how to do this by Lisa and Tracy to get the most out of a very short document. And so we'll work with you to make that happen. Actually, I'm going to have all the students draft it, and then we'll try to do, your corrections from there. Obviously, your approval would be required before we would do any of this, but that would be part of the management that the students would work with you on. Then we would we work with a lot of design students, so we'd like to make a sketch of your product and put that on there as well. And then the contact information, your website link, and then links to other marketing materials, et cetera, that you can put on that website as well. So we'll do that to everybody who sends in an application. Next slide. This is our final slide. So one of the things I just wanted to encourage you is throughout the whole process, we can be available to you for any technical questions, administrative questions, or anything else that goes along. You can contact me or the project manager, Michael Gentile, along the way. And we'll be happy to try and give you our advice or reach out to you on with any other thoughts on your program. So yeah, we want to be open to you. We're open to you all the way through the process. So there's no time when that has to stop. So up until the day that the applications are due, we will be available for you. And with that, I want to move to Q&A, and I think Nate is going to lead that for us.
Yes, thank you, Charlie. Yeah, so what we're going to do for the Q&A, anybody that submitted a question, we're going to go through the questions and just read them out loud. One, for posterity's sake, since this is recorded, and two, just in case there's any additional information that you need, you can quickly post a follow-up question. First question was, how do you pitch an idea? The answer to that is, as part of this program, we get you involved directly with Lisa and Tracy's program, and at one of the future Triad events that they host, that's where the pitch will occur. In the event that another opportunity presents itself between now and then, we'll absolutely help you. So there's, pitch sessions are very much in vogue right now. The Air Force is doing them. I think actually Department of Defense writ large, as well as Department of Energy, they're all leaning towards this kind of venture-based approach to getting new ideas in. Anytime those show up, we'll absolutely help you. This is kind of our success is measured more by your success than what we do internally. Deadline for getting involved. As Charlie just mentioned a couple of slides ago, the deadline is February 12th. It'll end up being around 5 p.m. That's usually when we make the cutoff. Cost of the Triad. So as part of this program, we're picking up, there is a cost to Triad. So if you're not selected to move, if your technology is not selected to move forward to prototype, there is a cost to participate in that. If you are selected to move forward, we are picking up some of that cost. And yeah, we can have a dialogue after this meeting or after this this session. If anybody wants to get more details, we can connect you with Tracy, or her contact information is on this presentation as well. The next question was, do we have any recommendations of ways to improve success of an application? If you have submitted in the past, you should have received feedback from us shortly after the decision was made. So round 2, if you were not selected for round 2, since we just finished crunching and tallying all of the reviewers' comments, we haven't reached back out to everybody yet to do the follow-up on what could have been better or what opportunities are still in front of you. If you haven't presented, we still want to help. As I mentioned, the goal isn't to create 9 or 8 or 6 or however many MVPs and leave the rest in the lurch. The goal is to take as many organizations forward to the Department of Defense as we can. We just only have funding for a small amount to go through the MVP process.
Nate, if I can add to that, we do have an example of someone who applied for round 1 without reaching out to us. And between round 1 and 2, they had discussions about how their application could be improved, and we were able to provide them, or they were selected for the round 2. So there's always hope that if your application didn't go through, we can help get a better understanding of the project, and maybe our understanding of the project might change enough that it could change the likelihood that you would be selected for round 3.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a good point. And so just to make sure it's clear too, we're part of the team, but we're not the whole team that does the review. So there's a mix of people from Ohio State University, from various branches or organizations within the Department of Defense, within Lisa's team. So it's a diverse group. Everybody kind of tallies and comments, and then we score them. So it becomes a quantitative measure of what programs proceed forward to the next round. The next question is, is about, we have a company has an existing piece of equipment or an existing technology, and they want to know if upgrading that technology fits the program. Absolutely. As Charlie mentioned, we did not, if you're familiar with technology readiness levels, we intentionally did not put a technology readiness level bracket around this program. So whether you slipped last night and hit your head on the toilet and thought of the flux capacitor and you sketched it on the back of a piece of cardboard, or you're already selling a product in the commercial market space and you just need to kind of reposition it for the Department of Defense or drive cost out of it. Anywhere in that spectrum is applicable to this program. The goal is to, as I know a little bit of broken record here, but the goal is to get you and your products into the Department of Defense, create more dual use technologies for DoD and the commercial market space, which makes your business stronger and makes the Department of Defense's supply base stronger. And that was our last question. If anybody else has any questions, we'll sit here and wait a few more minutes. Please post them in the Q&A session. Otherwise, you can also, if you don't want to post it in the Q&A, you can reach out to Michael Gentile, Charlie Young, Lisa, myself, and anybody that's on this that you've seen talk or heard talk today. Reach out to us and we'll try to help you out or help get an answer to you as quick as possible. Okay, there's another question came in about a product that needs some additional support for use off grid. Sounds like a great opportunity. Most of the FOBs or forward operating bases, they are off grid. So adding components, hardware, I'm not sure what the need would be, but adding additional assets to a piece of hardware or to an existing product so it could be used in an FOB or in an environment where you're not connected to the grid, that's a good fit for this program. Okay. It appears that we've received our last question, so I think we'll end things now. If anybody, like I said, if anybody has any follow-on questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We're super excited. This has been a great program so far. We hope to carry it far into the future. Looking forward to working with you all.